Good morning. Good morning. Can you tell my teeth are clenched? Oh, welcome to a journaling therapy session for me. And boy, do I need it today. I have a new t-shirt design. Not responsible for anything I said when the internet was out. I'm telling you, I know it's third world problems. I know. But, well, actually, it's not because my husband works from home. This broke yesterday and I don't know how to fix it. These chip clips, I think they were chip clips. I got them at Walmart and they are really pitiful. I think I've broken all of them now. I had another person planned for today, but I decided that I've had stressed out enough over the internet, the lack of caring by Spectrum. And I'm not going to do who I said I was going to do. Because right now, we need Steve Jobs. And I'm going to do Steve Jobs. What is Steve Jobs? Oh, you know what? I think I already did him. I do have him on my list. Okay, I got to come up with another one for Steve Jobs. On Steve Jobs Day. Remind me on May 19th. June, whatever month we're in. I need a new person. Okay. Maybe I'll regroup and do today's on the 19th. If I think I can handle it by then. Oh my God, this journal is so much fun. This one is problematic, but I'm going to keep it because the maker is problematic. Oh my gosh, I don't think he would be envious of my skills, but I think he'd be slightly impressed. Okay, so what kind of paper are we looking at for today? Just this page right here. Steve Jobs. Now, how are you going to create Steve Jobs with Rex Ray? First of all, I'm going to glue this right here. Well, he was an inventor. He partook in a little bit of, before it was legal, of extracurricular medications, let's just say, in California. But I think he was quite a man. I think he'd be disappointed in some of the tech guys today, really and truly. But I'm going to go through and cut out a bunch of apple shapes. You know what? I have tons of stuff with apple on it. Where's the handiest one? Can I make an apple without the apple? Yeah. Go for it, girl. Okay. That looks like a pumpkin. Okay, let me find apple. Oh, it's on the back of my Mac. Okay, hold on. Hold, please. Okay, I'm back. Now, I need to make this reverse. Maybe I better try to draw it correctly. In the right direction. Apparently my apples aren't ripe. Oh, I'm telling you, it wouldn't have been so bad if Spectrum. Okay, so what happened was, the original issue was we had another microburst. I think I said that yesterday. And it hit some main system for the communications for Spectrum. Internet, not TV, internet. Yeah, I think we didn't have TV. All the Spectrum was down, I believe. I think. But, they had like pride symbol apples. Maybe I'll just do a bunch of apples. Anyhow. But originally it happened Saturday night. And when the original problem happened Saturday night while we were out of town, we came home. Nothing was working. our electricity had come back. But, and then we talked to our neighbor for a minute, and then I looked it up. No, how did I look it up? I think I looked it up on my phone. I'm sure I overspent our hotspot minutes. Just trying to keep in touch and do a couple things. We're really completely spoiled in this country. I know. And well, a lot of technology, but like now they don't want you to, they want you to do your Social Security, your DMV, all this stuff online. It's like, okay, what happens when the internet goes out? You can't do anything. It's just insane. And I, unfortunately, am used to white noise to sleep. And I don't have a white noise machine. I just turn on an iPad, turn the picture off, and let the noise come through. And didn't have that. So I have not slept several nights now because I didn't sleep good in the hotel because a certain DOG, who, while you're watching this, is trying out a new groomer. Cross your fingers. Hopefully he doesn't distress and bite her. But, I mean, it was just, oh, so the original messages said, sorry for the inconvenience, we will notify you in 2 hours the status of your service. 2 hours, I get another message. We get another message. Sorry for the inconvenience. We are still having technical difficulties. We will notify you. We will respond again in 2 hours. Then it got to the point where it was like, it's not working. Sorry. We are trying. And then they just said, we'll let you know when it's back. I'm like, okay. So basically it went out Saturday night. This is Tuesday mid-morning. So it took a long time. But I called out of frustration, and I'm not responsible for the things I said when the internet went out. I called a customer service line, which my husband had called them several times. And we even drove around looking for Spectrum trucks. Can you give us an idea? How bad is the damage? This is going to be hours. This is going to be days. Blah, 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 blah. No Spectrum trucks anywhere within a 5-mile radius. And we saw electrical trucks, but we knew our electric was okay. And we said, hey, you guys know where the Spectrum guys are? Nope, don't know anything. Well, come to find out. After much complaining on cell phones, because you can use them for a few minutes and then you got to turn the hotspot off. But anyhow, we called Spectrum and a node was hit by lightning. Not even sure what a node is. It has something to do with the main guts of the system. For a section. Like, not all of Columbia was out. Not all of Lake Murray was out. Just our end. But hundreds and thousands of customers. Our neighbor has the neighborhood app thing. And we said, can you see if anybody's complaining on the neighborhood app? Are we the only ones out? Anyhow. But the thing was, those electrical guys had to fix something first. So when we saw the Dominion guys working, we now know they knew what was going on. They just didn't tell us. So last night, out of frustration, I sound like I'm nice, don't I? Not when, don't take away my electronics or my Frappuccinos. Anyhow, or my potato chips. So mind you, I do have plenty of stuff I could be doing, but my mind is just, I am horribly, horribly attached to the internet. Bad on my part. I know. So I called them and you go, is this a service call or a new service or blah, blah, blah. Push one for service. One. Get somebody finally through all the directory stuff. And it's a machine. Robot, AI, whatever it is. And they said, yes, we noticed there's an outage in your area. We have no time frame as to when it will be fixed. oh, we will let you know. We will call you. Push 2 and we will call you when it's back. I'm like, no, I will know when it's back before you do, probably. Anyhow, so I started talking loudly. I need a human being. I need a human being. I need a human. And apparently I didn't hang up. Hang on for a while. And if you don't hang up in a certain amount of time, would you like to speak to a customer service rep? Yes. So I find, and people for earbuds, I'm sorry for screaming. Oh my God. So I finally got a lady who was in Florida someplace. Sounded farther away than that. But she said, yes, I see that you have called to complain about, to request a service update. I'm like, can I, it had been 48 hours at this point. And I'm like, we don't even know what's going on. Everybody around us has internet, blah, 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 blah. She goes, well, I don't know. I'll have to check. And she's, pleasant. I'm like, and I preference everything with, I'm sorry. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm not trying to yell at you. And she goes, I understand completely. It's fine. I understand. She goes, oh, I know. It's so frustrating. And finally she goes, oh, ma'am, we see that there's a node out in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm like, what the heck is a node? And she goes, oh, well, it's a main connection box, somewhere, a main system. Basically, Steve Jobs was not at home, so it didn't work. And I know Steve Jobs is in a different level. And so it's like, really? So this morning, my husband was going to go get his oil changed. And he drove, as he was driving out of the main streets to get out of our area of Columbia, he called me. He goes, there's Spectrum trucks coming down the road. I'm like, yes. So by the time he got back from the oil change, only to say that they are booked until next week. I'm getting it done next week. He goes, but there were Spectrum trucks around the corner. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. So then, about an hour after that, but I did catch up on my Hobonichi pretty good, pretty darn good. And anyhow, it's just, and I told the lady, we pay for 5G, we get negative 2G on a daily basis, but right now we have 0. She goes, well, you do realize 0 is better than 2. I'm like, negative 2. I'm like, yes, I know. I had math in 4th grade. But anyhow, I said, you just don't. She goes, I can sense your frustration. I'm like, sense this Spectrum. Not her, but sense this Spectrum. Anyhow, I'm not responsible for the things I said when the internet went out. I need a piece of paper on the background here. What do I want to do? Oh, I think I know what I want to do. I'm going to use one of these green pieces that I made the other day. Anyhow. And I'm trying to keep up with what's happening in California, which is happening basically nationwide to us, because what he's doing in California, he's going to do other places. And I'm like, and, my sister lives there, not in that area, but I grew up there, and, California is the 4th largest income, or whatever you want to call it, in the world, not just the United States. And it's just tragic what's happening. And it was tragic that I didn't have internet. Okay, I need to take out this part because I want the jobs to stay. So I was going to do Michelangelo. I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth, no pun intended, to figure out how to replicate something from Michelangelo. But I do believe Steve Jobs and Rex Ray would have gotten along. They were about the same age. And they're both kind of forward thinking. Obviously, Steve Jobs was a little bit out there, both of them. And thinking outside the box, literally. With art. And, okay, this is another thing. Steve Jobs was all about keeping it simple and easy. Like, this as your symbol. A white iPod, a white whatever, when he first started. And it's like, just make it real simple. You don't have to muck it up with stuff. Although mucking it up with stuff is allowed in a Hobonichi or this kind of stuff in art. But, I mean, he's just such a forward thinker. And about that, some of that. Now, this is the little stem that's not connected, but I'm going to connect it here because of design choices. Okay, I'm still going to make some flowers here. But, I mean, his art, Rex Ray's art, is simple shapes, simple shapes. The theory, sometimes the easier it looks, the harder it is. I have learned that. Yeah. And I believe that. Oh, my markers are down the hall. Okay. I believe in that wholeheartedly. Trying to figure out how I can make stems differently than I've already made them. But I believe they're simplistic. Not attraction, but approach. The simplistic look they would have definitely agreed on, I think. And they seem like they would have, not that I know either one of them, or knew either one of them, but I think they would have gotten along. I would like to think they would have gotten along. That would make my heart happier, knowing that they would have gotten along. But yeah, we have, and it's what happened on Saturday. Whew, my sister, she's like, because I talked to her Sunday on our way home, and she's like coming home from the mountains, and she said, whoa, we just had the worst storm last night. She said, I swear we had another tornado type action. And we started coming home, the street before the street you get to our area of the lake was trees down, power outages. I'm like, oh Lord, here we go again. This is the third time since October we've had these microbursts. And up until that, we have never had them. But it's almost as tragic as what has happened in Asheville. Boy, Asheville, you can tell who doesn't have insurance, who did have insurance, who probably doesn't have insurance now, or is paying up the wazoo for it, which is the same thing that's happening in California with the fires. Fire insurance was already expensive. Homeowners insurance was already expensive. And then they would exclude fires, or act of gods. They would consider a fire an act of God, even if it was arson and whatever. And, I mean, just such, and making it almost unaffordable for everybody if you did have it. And you can tell in Asheville, that's, I mean, all the houses that we saw in this one area, the River Arts District, I had read that it had come back, but it has not. And it is all the warehouses, because it was an old, because it's right next to the French Broad River, and River Arts, thus. And they were old warehouses, because there's also railroad tracks right there. So it was an industrial area. That's what I'm trying to say. And then when all that kind of left, they took that real estate and turned it into an art area. And so there are all these old loading docks and everything all over the place, and old warehouse buildings that they had turned into, little tiny studios. And it's all closed. Cheap Joe's, went into Cheap Joe's. I'd read that they were open, and I got all excited. Yep, they were open. Well, they're closing because all their customers haven't come back. in the River Arts District, and they're closing. And they have other stores. They had another store in Boone, which I think is like an hour away. Plus, online is not helping either. Okay. I'm trying to think. What else can I put on here? There's a bunch of circles in here. Already punched. Ooh, here's a whole bunch right here. Let's see what I can find. I mean, I'm thinking like, even though it's not, you know, that this is where Rex Ray comes in with the Apple section. I think I'm going to leave the red one alone. We've had tons of rain. I think my husband's here. I think that's the air. The lady across the cove has a very, very low stationary dock, and the water, we judge it by that. And the water is very close to the top of her dock. It was about 12 inches away. Now it's like 6. The husband is home. I think I'm going to write on here something like design. I'm filming. Do you hear me? Ken, I'm filming. I'm filming. The tales of woe of a husband who can't hear. 12 times. Design. I have no responsibility to what I say when the internet was out. That's going to be my excuse for everything from now on. Okay, how can I want to add something to this. Maybe. Okay, like ones and zeros. Isn't that like computer language? Maybe I'll just put hopefully this doesn't spell I hate Spectrum in computer language. We're really tempted to change because our neighbor has had AT&T, and through all of these microbursts, through everything, he never has lost his internet. Now the girl that my husband works with, she lost her power, and it didn't. She's on a different power grid than we are, even though she lives like as the crow flies, less than a mile away. And she says my power's still not back, so she didn't have anything, and she had planned to go out of town anyhow. I think Thursday. She said, "I'm going early." Ken's like, "Go ahead." He said, "Go for it." I don't know what that is, but it's pretty. Who am I using tomorrow? Let's see. This is, oh yeah. I switched, okay. Huh. This is a man from history. This is going to be interesting, but I think that's not going to hinder or help or whatever. All right, what else can I do here? Oh, I'm going to tell you another thing. I watched this over the weekend at the hotel because it's relatively short. And a couple places I skipped ahead. Bai Bun has a new class. It's very good. Not sponsored, nothing. It's very good. It gives you a couple little tips on mixed media that I hadn't even thought about. Not that I'm a pro either, for sure, obviously. But I was like, aha. Some things that I did not know, nor had picked up watching her. And it's a cheaper class than some of the others that she has done. But it's only like 3 hours, so it's not bad. All right, this is purple. What can I do with purple? Maybe like reinforce the stem aspect up here. I think Rex Wright and Steve Jobs would have liked this one. I think I'm going to stop. I need to regroup with my brain. I like that. But we had Gunnar in a hotel for the first time up in well, we stayed in Asheville, but we basically went to Black Mountain. We went through Hendersonville a little bit. They're all right there. They're suburbs of Asheville. And he stayed in a hotel and he did very well. A couple times the people upstairs clumped around on the floor and he barked. But other than that, he didn't have a problem. I took the bedspreads off the bed because he's dirty naturally because his fur's so long. And then my husband cranks up the air conditioner and I'm like, okay, it's freezing in here. Okay. Oh, this is what am I doing tomorrow? Oh yeah. Oh, that might work. Actually, that might work for tomorrow. I don't know. Oh, give yourself prompt lists. Even this was different and I like it. I need to tape this down. Hannibal, Huck, Calaveras, Mississippi, Equator. Oh, I also made a list going back and looking at, trying to remember and make lists of all the journals I've made. I'm up to 88. I know there's a lot more, but they're little tiny things. But yeah, 88. I'm trying to make an index. Okay. Love it. Love it. Thank you for hanging in while the internet regroups. I think we have regrouped. I will continue my personal regroup starting now. Oh, I need to take a picture of this. That turned out pretty good. Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow. Bye. With any luck, we have more storms coming. Ay, ay, ay.